just going to make the point that, like, meetings like this are happening in every country in the world. I mean, the crisis, like someone just said, like, it started in Wall Street, but it's a world crisis. So, like, working class people in Egypt are sitting in rooms like this, saying to themselves, well, how are we going to fight back? What are we going to do about, like, you know, whatever his name is that controls the Egyptian media and probably has 70 billion in his bank account, as some of Mubarak's mates have. You know, I think one of Mubarak's sidekicks had 70 billion in the bank. You know, so he even made Dennis O'Brien look like a pauper. You know, so you know, right across the world, people are asking those questions. I'm so sure in Spain, you know, there's people having meetings going, what the hell does the 100 billion that went into the banks and the conditions they're going to come back with, you know, when they have to pay that back, what's that going to mean for, you know, hospitals in Spain and schools in Spain, and, you know, I'm sure people are talking about those things. So people are having those discussions the world over. And so there's a real battle going on. Like that man said up there, you know, that like Dennis O'Brien uses control of the media to try and put one spin on things. But like if you look at the household charges campaign, when people start to organise and get confidence, it's like if you're the fella in Edenderry who, you know, calls the meeting once a week, who sends out the phones, who gets on the megaphone outside the local Labour TD's clinic, who talks to the press because someone has to do it and you were nominated by the group to do it, you start to get a hell of a lot of confidence. And when you've got that confidence, you know, the idea that, you know, you can have a more equal society, or, you know, working class people should have a say in how the wealth in society is distributed. Actually, you need a bit of confidence in yourself to start believing in other working class people. Like, you know, the idea that working class people can run society themselves. How are you ever going to believe in that if you don't believe in yourself? And so it's through struggle that people start to believe in themselves. And I think that that battle is going on in every country. Like you have, like I think Greece is a great example, where, you know, just like here, the union leaders were in the Greek Labour Party, and the Greek Labour Party was bringing in the IMF cuts and, you know, all the cuts that the EU recommended, but they still ended up having 17 general strikes. And the answer as to why they got 17 general strikes and we're only starting the process of struggle, well, the secret is that there's a much bigger radical left in Greece. Like, you know, the radical left is going to probably come out on top in the elections at the weekend, and they have a much bigger radical left. Our sister party, the Socialist Workers' Party, we have a sister party in Greece that has, you know, 1,500 members. When you've got 1,500 members, you can get down to a hell of a lot of workplaces. You know what I mean? You can organise a hell of a lot of campaigns. You can put up a hell of a lot of posters. You know what I mean? It really increases the amount of things that you can get done. And actually the thing was that when the union leaders at first, when the crisis first hit, they wouldn't call any action. There was 9 months where there was no action in Greece, and people were tearing their hair out going, Jesus, the level of the cuts and nobody's fighting back. And what happened was socialists in the education sector were able to call that out on strike. Then the dock workers and the transport workers went, we'll have some of that. You know, because the socialists were big enough to call a sector out, if you know what I mean. You know, we're not that big yet. And so it started the ball rolling. And once the ball got rolling, the Jack O'Connors see that the ball's rolling and they go, Jesus, we better get on board or someone else will end up at the head of this movement. So in other words, they actually lit a fire under the union leaders and got things moving. And I think that's a great lesson and an inspiration for us that we can learn from our brothers and sisters in Greece. And I think that the household tax has me really positive for the working class in this country, because I think we've taken the first step and I think we'll take many more.
Absolutely. Thanks very much.
Yeah, just very quickly about, again, you know, the importance of socialist organisation, because you know, it is clear, like, that there are loads of campaigns popping up around the country against the closure of the local hospital or school and so on. And you know, actually, you know, especially outside of Dublin, these campaigns are largely under reported. You know, you get the impression like that you know, nothing's actually happening and so on. But yet there have been huge demonstrations in towns like Clonmel and Athlone and so on against hospital closures and the like. And but one of the problems with a lot of these campaigns, though, is that they, you know, they tend to be isolated. That it's, you know, it's just a local campaign. And you know, just to give a concrete example, in Skibbereen, for example, where the chair of that campaign, he's a member of the Labour Party, and you know, when it was raised at the you know, at the campaign meetings on, you know, we should be joining up with other campaigns across the country, he immediately shut it down. And whereas, you know, if socialists were leading a campaign like that, say, no, we must join the dots. You know, we have to link up with other campaigns and so on. You know, you all the time have to be looking at the bigger picture, because if not, you know, time and time again, unfortunately, you know, we've actually seen campaigns. I remember back in the 1980s, a huge thing around Barrington's Hospital in Limerick, 30,000 people marching in Limerick. And again, because it was dominated by hacks like these, you know, it went down to defeat. So, you know, I don't think we want to repeat that. You know, we need to encourage people to join the dots and, you know, and organise together. And, you know, it's just like that point of Kieran said at the start, you know, we have to strategise, because you can be damn sure that they are.
Absolutely, absolutely. Did something down the back there? No?
Yeah, the one with the glasses.
Somebody fixing the curtains, isn't it? Sorry, no. Listen, I'm going to wind up. I'm going to ask
Can we hear the story? I think it'd be great, because I don't know the story that people are referring to.
Oh no, if you don't. If you want to know what's happening with the home now. Yeah, it's just now the home. We work for Inchcore Home Health Service, and our work has been tendered out to private agencies. But the whole thing is, you see, the budget is still the same. They're still getting the same amount of money. Our agency is a non-profit agency, but they're making it into a business. You know, that shouldn't be run as a business. You know, it's a service we provide, and you know, it shouldn't be profited from. But these agencies are getting the same amount of money as what we're getting now. But what they're doing is, where we would get an hour to go in to look after somebody, get them up, get them washed, get them dressed, feed them, make sure they're settled. Could be till the next morning. But these are coming in, and instead of giving a person an hour, they're phasing out and saying, well, I can look after 4 people for that. You go in, you have 15 minutes to do that. You know, and this is what's happening, and it's completely unregulated. We're all trained, we're all Garda vetted. I'm 12 years doing this job. I could have no job tomorrow and I would walk away with nothing. We've no contracted hours, we have minimum hours, we've no hours contracted. We've no nothing, we haven't even maybe probably got a job at the end of the year. But it's not that the work is not there anymore, it's just it's all going down to these private agencies. Where me and Joan could go in tomorrow and register and open up our own business.
You can do anybody can open the business.
absolutely, yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
What can obviously?
That's it, you know, and like, you know, they don't care. You know, the agency just does not
The majority
care.
of their money is going in their pocket. That's where the chunk of the money is going.
Yeah, they're making a
It's
big,
not,
big
it's not going for to get the services to the elderly people. They come along and they say, put somebody in for 15 minutes. In 15 minutes you get no lady or no gentleman onto the toilet and off, and that's it.
Now, this
And
person
you
should have no legs.
walk out the door and leave that
You know?
person.
Yeah.
Or if you have to share somebody, you might only get quarter way through it. So you have to go and say, bye-bye through the wheel and walk out the door. And we wouldn't do that. Nobody could do that. You know, that's...
But this is what we're, and
we're
now
against
we're
that.
being, like, Situ is not keeping us in touch about things, you know, like, they're supposed to have just finished a 3-month campaign of the country where there was rallies organised in Cork. There was no rally organised for Dublin. Do you know what I mean? Did you hear of a rally? Because we didn't. You know, but yet there was one in Cork.
We heard that, and we only heard that at a meeting that was held on last Saturday evening.
Like, this is going on since 2010. And yet all of a sudden now it's a big panic with Situ, like a big panic, or trying to organise meetings with the Labour Party to try and get some sort of a contract. That we have something to recognise us as, like, we're real work, we do a real job that pays real tax every month. Like, we have to pay our tax. Like, you know, we're not working for, it's not a hobby, it's a job that we're doing.
And they're very important.
Do you know what I mean? Like, we pay our taxes, we pay our universal social charge, like, but yet they don't seem to recognise us as having, like, as real workers doing a real people, doing a real job. Do you know what I mean? A job that someone has to do, you know. These guys, the lucky ones get old. Do you know, like, you know, there'll be no one there to look
Thanks
after
very
you.
much for putting those points forward, and thanks
Yeah.
all of you for coming along. Brid's going to win.